Nina Dobrev once said 5 words about her co-star that fans still can't get over. "I didn't like Paul Wesley." Not, "we had creative differences." Not, "it was complicated." She said they despised each other. So much, in fact, that when audiences watched them play the most beloved couple on the Vampire Diaries, all that hate read as red-hot chemistry. People walked up to her on the street convinced they were dating in real life. They weren't dating. They couldn't stand each other. And here's the wild part. 17 years after they first met on that set, after going from genuine enemies to one of the most famous on-screen romances of the 2000s to actual best friends in real life, Nina Dobrev and Paul Wesley just announced they're reuniting. New show, Hulu. And this time, they're not just starring in it, they're running it. On June 25th, 2026, the news dropped and Stelena fans lost their minds. But the story of how these two got here is so much better than any vampire plot the show ever wrote. Because this isn't a story about 2 actors getting a paycheck. It's a story about 2 people who hated each other turning that into a 17-year friendship and a business partnership. So let's break down the anatomy of the most unlikely friendship in TV history. Rewind to 2009. The CW casts a new supernatural drama called The Vampire Diaries, developed by Kevin Williamson and Julie Plec, adapted from L.J. Smith's best-selling book series. Nina Dobrev lands the lead, Elena Gilbert, the orphaned human girl at the center of everything, set in the fictional small town of Mystic Falls. Paul Wesley plays Stefan Salvatore, the good-hearted vampire who falls for her. On paper, they're the central love story, the couple the whole show is built around. Off-camera, disaster. By Nina's own account, for the first 5 months of filming, the 2 of them did not get along at all. 2 young actors, both taking the work dead seriously, both convinced they knew the right way to play a scene, and constantly clashing over it. Paul later described it the same way. They butted heads, not over personality stuff offset, but over the actual acting, how a scene should go, who was right. And here's the part that's almost too perfect. All that friction, it worked. The tension between them crackled on screen. Audiences read it as smoldering romance. Nina put it best years later. There's a fine line between love and hate, and they despised each other so much that it actually read as love. Fans were stopping her in public asking if they were a real couple. The chemistry everyone was obsessed with was real. It was just the wrong emotion. So that's stage 1, enemies. Now watch the turn. Somewhere in those 8 seasons of fake loving each other on camera, something shifted. The clashing cooled. The respect that was always there, Nina always said she respected him, she just didn't like him, slowly turned into something more. They figured each other out. And keep in mind, Nina wasn't just playing Elena. She was pulling double duty as Catherine Pierce, a 500-year-old vampire and the show's main antagonist, a completely different character she had to flip between episode to episode. All that creative pressure, and the person she was clashing with most was Paul. And by the time the show wrapped, the 2 people who couldn't share a scene without fighting had become genuinely close. How close? Nina has straight up said that of the entire cast, Paul is the one she sees the most and hangs out with the most. The enemy became the best friend. Fans have spotted them hanging out in Paris, sitting courtside at Knicks games together. They show up on each other's social media constantly. 17 years after they met hating each other, they're in each other's lives all the time. That's stage 2, besties. And then comes stage 3, the one that just made headlines. For years, Paul had been dropping hints that the 2 of them were looking for the right project to do together again. They didn't want to just cash in on a vampire reunion. They wanted the right thing. And in June 2026, they found it. A novel called You Deserve to Know by Aggie Blum Thompson. Hulu won it in a bidding war, with 20th Television and Capital Entertainment producing. Here's the setup. 3 tight-knit suburban couples, best friends, living on the same quiet cul-de-sac. Then one of the husbands is murdered, and the investigation rips the whole friend group apart, exposing affairs, secrets, lies. Nina plays Gwen, the wife whose world implodes. Paul plays Scott, a neighbor, and the twist that's driving fans crazy. They're not lovers this time. They're on opposite sides of a murder investigation, on a collision course. But here's what actually matters. They're not just acting in it. Nina and Paul are both executive producers. They're helping shape the adaptation from both sides of the camera. In Nina's words, the 2 kids who fought over how to play a single scene back in 2009 are now the ones in charge of the entire production. That's the whole arc in one move. They went from having 0 control and clashing over everything to having total control and building something together on purpose, and they leaned all the way into it with the announcement. Nina posted, "I've been waiting to share this one," and teased, "Some things refuse to stay buried," a perfect little wink at their vampire past. Paul's post just said, "Secrets out, enemies, then besties, now business partners running their own murder mystery." You genuinely could not write a cleaner character arc. The show gave them a love triangle. Real life gave them something better. And that show, by the way, ended up being so big that Julie Plec and the team spun it into an entire franchise. The originals, then legacies, years of television that all traces back to the two people who couldn't stand each other in season 1. So, what do we actually take from all this? Here's the thing that gets me. The most famous love story these two ever told was completely fake. The most real thing about them was the part nobody was supposed to see, the fighting, the friction, the two stubborn young actors who couldn't stand each other. That friction is exactly what built everything that came after. They didn't become friends despite hating each other at first. They became friends because they pushed through it. They respected each other enough to figure it out instead of just tolerating each other for a paycheck. And 17 years later, that's the relationship still standing, long after Elena and Stefan got written into the ground. And now they're betting on it. Not a nostalgia cash grab, not a vampire reboot, a brand new murder mystery where they don't even play a couple. They play enemies again, which honestly, full circle. They started as people pretending to love each other while secretly clashing. Now they get to clash on screen on purpose as best friends who own the whole thing behind the scenes. The lesson buried in here is kind of beautiful. Sometimes the people you butt heads with, the hardest become the ones who stick. Sometimes the worst first impression turns into the longest friendship. And sometimes the chemistry everyone swears is love is really just two people who haven't figured each other out yet. You Deserve to Know doesn't have a release date yet. It's still early in development. But when it drops, just remember what you're actually watching, not Stelena, something that took 17 years to build. So tell me, were you Team Stefan or Team Damon? Drop it in the comments, hit follow for more celebrity anatomies, and I'll see you in the next one.